Although it had just suffered a fire, Pitt Street 99 was still open for business. It was a small and old building. The walls were covered with flyers and graffiti. I walked through the main gate and saw a narrow staircase. There was also a small desk at the bottom of the stairs facing the entrance. A man with spiky hair was sitting behind the desk with his legs crossed. He put down the magazine, which had a woman with big tits on the cover, and asked what I was doing here. Well, what we are doing here, dear viewer, is that we are getting on with the game Will a Wonderful World, in which we pose as a god that has to sort of like fix the situation that humanity finds themselves in. It has been going not so great up until now. I've been messing up a lot and people died, but we fixed it. That's one of the perks of being a god, is that you get to retry. But there ain't gonna be no retries in this one. I swear to myself that I will get S rank on the first try. I told him that a man in a long black trench coat had told me to come here. Trench coat? I don't believe in those. Everyone here wears a trench coat. I'm telling you, this is not some place without trench coats that you can just walk in. You'd better get out of here before I stab you with a knife. Ah, man, I'm gonna lose another one. Spiky hair picked up the magazine again. I tried to recall what the guy looked like. White shirt, gray vest, short black hair that was combed to the back. He also had a big guy in a black suit with a scarred face by his side. A scarred face. Mr. Tough? Mufasa and Scar? Hold on, that doesn't seem right. Does the guy you're talking about have his right hand? Spiky hair put down his magazine and his legs, I don't know how he put those down, leaned towards me and asked quietly, right hand. I couldn't remember exactly, but I did remember that he had picked up my phone with his left hand, which can only mean that he doesn't even have a right hand. He shouted upstairs, Mr. Quan, the guy you've been waiting for is here. I looked at the staircase with anticipation. However, the man who came down was not the one I had met. He was wearing a leather jacket. That's the first cue as to that this not being the guy I'm looking for. I distinctly said a trench coat, not a leather jacket, and a pair of sunglasses. He had high cheekbones and he looked much older. He took me all the way to a suburb on the back of his motorcycle. Mr. Quan spoke very fluent English. He told me that the building we had just been in was the headquarters of the Black Dragon Gang, the biggest gang in Hong Kong. Wait, that's a third gang. The other one were the Busung and the something. And the person who had told me to come was the second in command of the gang. He had instructed Mr. Quan to induct me as a pledge. Am I gonna be part of a gang? A pledge was a potential candidate to join the gang. But before officially admitting me, Mr. Quan had to make sure if I was qualified. Mr. Quan put a gun in my hand. I was stunned. It was a stun gun. You don't have to do it. If you're not willing to do this, we can leave right now. You'll just pretend that you have never met me. Mr. Quan took a small metal box out of his pocket and threw a piece of gum in his mouth. No, I'll do it. I couldn't let go of any chance to find Alicia. Besides, I had a brilliant idea. I went into a convenience store nearby. Most of the goods on the shelves seemed to be used goods. Some of them were covered with a thick layer of dust. The owner looked like he was over 60. He was reading a book behind the counter. It was just the two of us in the store. I walked up to the counter, smashed my left hand down on it, lifted the gun with my right hand, and pointed it at his head. I yelled in my meanest voice, "Sir, could you give me all of your money? I'm gonna blow your head open." Then I whispered to the old man about what was going on, making sure that Mr. Kwon wouldn't be able to hear me. I was so nervous, even though I had no intention of robbing him for real. I handed him what was in my hand. The gun. It seemed like a dumb idea, but you know. "Please?" The owner put down his book and looked at me pleadingly. "We need the money here for my wife's hospital bill. I can't just give it to you. Everything else is in this shop. If you like, it's all yours, please, please." Apparently, he had only heard my threats, not my whispers. Tears rolled down my face. I must have lost my mind to be robbing a poor old man like this. Even if it was all fake, I never should have done this. I handed the gun to the owner and loudly told him why I was there and what I had been through. To my utter surprise, after hearing my story, the owner offered to help me, ask about my sister, and even asked if I would be willing to stay here and help out in the store. He said I was welcome to stay as long as I didn't mind the little wage he could afford. I gave the old man a huge shock. Outside the store, Mr. Kwon had already left. I would never see him again. I started working at the store while looking for information about Alicia. Days went by, but I still hadn't heard anything. Lord, what should I do to find my sister? Should I have joined the gang instead? Carlos: "Well, that seems like an S rank already. That was probably the best way that could have ended." Okay, next letter. My mother had always complained that I never exercised, so I took up tennis. She would always say that if I ever needed to run away from bad guys, I would be dead in just a few steps. There were not that many bad guys in the world. Besides, even if there were, I had these tennis balls that apparently are harder than freaking steel. I think I could just stay in my room and not go outside. It is the information era after all. As long as I can get information online, I can play with the real world in the palm of my hand. Yet, even though I managed to dodge all of the recruiting activities for the school sports meet, my roommate had totally ruined my perfect plan. Today was the all-school sports meet. I thought I could have made up an excuse like a foot injury or something like that, so that I wouldn't even have to sit under a tree, and I could just stay in my room and play on my computer. But Rocky had signed me up for the 4x400 relay race without me even knowing about it, and I now had to stand under the scorching sun. Okay, I can see already what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna take the gun from the other letter, put it in Jimmy's hand so he can shoot his roommate and never have to do the 4x400 relay race. Huh? 400 freaking meters? Madness. The last time I'd been in a race, I was still in elementary school. I hadn't even hit puberty. I thought I might die on the track today. The gun went off. Oh, the gun for the race. I thought I actually had... Okay. I took it from his hand. I never knew that Rocky was so fast. Our team was actually in first place during this third leg run. Still, why was I the final leg? What were people thinking? There was nothing else I could do but run like my life depended on it. The people along the tracks were cheering for me. I couldn't really tell who they were, but this actually felt pretty great. I was only 50 meters from the finish line and no one had caught up with me yet. I must have underestimated myself. Ahahaha. Look at me now, Mom. Your son is about to win a race, huh? I looked straight ahead to the finish line, then I saw her. I saw my crush. Oh no, if she thinks that I'm into racing and not tennis, she might not be into me. Don't distract me at such a moment. It was too late. I was distracted. I'd only lost my focus for 1 second and the tip of my foot tripped over a bump on the track. My entire body left the ground and then my face smashed into the ground. By the time I got back up, the other teams had all run past the finish line. Oh no. Gimme. Okay. Well, we can fix this. In this letter, there is the sequence special restriction that we talked about before. Okay, so... Wait, what? 1, 2, and 3? If you put I handed him and I took it from both on the left side, then the former has to happen after the latter. Oh, okay. So 1, 2, and 3 has to be in that specific order. Because you can't hand the baton over and then have it back again. Furthermore, if you put the gun went off piece on the left side too, it has to happen before the match begins. So there's another sequence restriction on this piece too. All the sequence restrictions are labeled by a number. The pieces with smaller numbers cannot be placed after the pieces with larger numbers. Since the aforementioned restrictions only apply to the left side, there's a straight vertical line in the middle of the red diamond. Oh! And the number is marked on the left side of the line. Oh boy, why are there so many restrictions when I'm of God? I'm completely lost. Haha, that's not all. You'll get used to all of these red signs eventually. Okay, then I'll try my best to remember them. Okay, so... So I can put that there. So he shoots me. Don't know how that's gonna help, but there you are. I took it from his hand. What do you mean? You didn't take the gun from the hand of the person over here. Okay, so this guy is all about like, why was I the final leg? And should I have joined the gang instead? Do we want him to join the gun? Or the gang, not the gun. What about this? Let's just see. I don't think this is the right one, but I just want to see where we're gonna get with this. A dark red hole appeared in the forehead of the owner. Oh, whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Apparently he had only heard my no matter how hard I tried to signal him, the old man could not get my hints. Just when I was about to give up, the gun went off by accident. There was blood everywhere. Ran out the store, completely forgot about Mr. Kwan, and began running back the way we had come from. Mr. Kwan never tried to catch me. A few people on the street gave me some strange looks. They must have thought that I was a madman. I wasn't mad. I was guilty. I was guilty of killing someone. I had to confess. I must confess. Before sunset, I was sitting in the police station. There were blisters on both my feet. Lord, I have come to confess. Please forgive me. Oops. I finally handed the baton. Oh, the baton! I thought when he spoke about like I took it from his hand, I thought he meant like the freaking gun that went off. If I had to take one more step, I was going to throw up blood and die right there, right then. Our team was in second place. It was all up to Rocky now. Rocky soon finished the first 200 meters, but something didn't seem right. He had eaten something bad today? In the end, not only did Rocky fail to pass Class 2, he was eventually passed by Class 4, 10 meters away from the finish line. Well, that's not our problem. That's Rocky's problem. Maybe he'll learn not to enroll us in a freaking race next time. Ugh, that sucked. Although, being part of this actually felt pretty great. Ha! A piece went missing! Sometimes this will happen. In this letter, because the gun went off in the story on the right side, the store owner was killed. As a result, neither the owner nor Carlos would be able to carry out the remaining actions. And so, the white piece disappeared. Usually, a piece will disappear when the subject of the action described in the piece is no longer active. This is not only confined to the sender of the letter, it could also be because of someone mentioned in the letter. Again, it depends. The important thing is to think about why they might disappear. I see! Okay, well... So... What if... Okay, let's try with him actually shooting me. Or actually, what about this just? But isn't this exactly what we had before? Yeah, perfect. Both of them bad. Still bad. Okay, so... I said we weren't gonna have any bad ones. So what about this? Oh, well, that gives an A over there. So the gun went off. That has to stay over here. I think this might be it. I think this might be it. The owner was so frightened that he was shaking. He immediately took the few large bills out of a drawer and handed them to me. Oh no, but the hospital bill for the wife! Apparently he had only heard my threats, not my whispers. Looking upon a 60-year-old man with an ailing wife at home crying and begging me to spare his life, I could barely hold the tears in myself. Mr. Kwan took the money from my hand with a satisfied look on his face. I was then admitted into the Black Dragon Gang. A few days later in the evening, I took a motorcycle from someone else in the group and came back to the store. I stuffed all the money I had borrowed for the past few days under the rolling door of the store. Sorry and thank you, Mr. Owner. Oh, that's close! I got an S and an A. Okay, but I can't switch these two around. What if we just never handed anything? The gun went off. End of story. I hid the only valuable thing I owned in my left palm when I smashed my hand down on the counter, my cell phone. The owner looked outside the window and seemed to understand what was going on. He accepted the cell phone quietly and took the few large bills out of the drawer, which was worth much more than my phone, and handed them to me. Thank you so much, Mr. Owner. I left the store and handed the plastic bag with money to Mr. Kwan. How dare you play a trick on me? You think the Black Dragon Gang is just a joke? He punched me in the head and knocked me to the ground. Then he gave me several heavy kicks to the stomach. The passerby around us all hurried away, afraid of being caught in the middle. Well, that's not good. Okay. Well, that's the same. What if I do this? Nope. What about this? Nope. That's also bad. So the gun went off. Wait. What if we do this and then this? There it is. There it is. Right there. A dart. Ah, that's not what I meant to do. He had already taken a few large bills out of his drawer and handed them to me. I was about to leave, but the gun went off by accident when I was putting it away. Why are you so dumb? Oh, he checked the money inside. Then he said I passed the test. I didn't speak at first. Then I grabbed the bag from Mr. Kwan's hand and began running back to the way I came from. Mr. Kwan never tried to catch me. A few people on the street gave me some strange look. They must have thought that I was a madman. I wasn't mad. I was guilty. I was guilty of killing someone. Well, that's not what I meant to do. How in the fuck is that a rank A from both of them? But I feel like I shouldn't be... How is this not it? Okay, this is the closest we're gonna get right now. No, it isn't. Because I apparently won't get any more mail until this one is an S. Right? Hang on. Yeah. Well, look, there's only one more we haven't tried. Start. There's no point in... Oh, that's an S rank over there. Hang on just a smittens here. Haha! There we go, S rank! I finally handed the baton off to the next leg. If I had taken one more step, I was going to throw up blood and die right there, right then. Our team was in second place, it was all up to Rocky. Rocky soon finished the first 200 meters, but something didn't seem right. He had eaten something bad today. Let's go, Rocky! Go, go, go! I'll buy you some fucking ice cream, just make sure you win! Now that I had participated, I wanted us to win too. I couldn't help but start cheering Rocky on. Many of the people around me were cheering for him too. I never knew that participating in this kind of event could actually feel pretty great. Rocky suddenly sped up. He finally ran past class 2 with 10 meters left. He crossed the finish line first. Well done! We were happily hugging and shoving each other near the finish line. Okay, my stomach hurt a little. Can we do a barbecue instead of ice cream? You're funny. I pushed Rocky aside and caught a glimpse of someone. 'Twas me crush! And she was looking at us. And she was smiling. Wow, I never knew I could get this kind of reward by participating in the meet. I felt so happy, so happy. There we go. Well, we're keeping the S rank up here. Uh-oh. Oh, that's an entirely new person. A piece of rope? And the lives in group loyalty. Wait, but isn't the... Wait. He put down the magazine with the book. Give me all of your money. Took it from his hand. Okay, no. Okay, I thought this was the one where I killed him. It isn't. Okay, we can do these two. We're gonna meet the new person. I'd been a member of the Black Dragon gang for 2 months, but I was still yet to officially meet Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin was the second in command of the Black Dragon gang. We met once on the day of the fire at Pitt Street 99. He was also the one who had me inducted into the gang. I thought I would be able to get some information about my sister once I joined the gang. But soon, I had found out that everyone in my group, including our leader Mr. Kwan, knew nothing about her. As for Mr. Lin himself, he rarely ever came to number 99 in person. Still, there were some upsides from joining the gang. At least I didn't have to worry about room and board anymore. You know how I always worry about board? My Cantonese was also improving a lot. Besides, not everyone in the gang was as scary as one would expect of a gang member. Ren was one of the nice guys. I belonged to the group loyalty team. The group oversaw the loan business, so we were essentially the loan sharks in the gang. Now that I had become a member, I couldn't just coast along without doing anything. But I also didn't want to do wrong things. I had told Ren about my predicament here during one of our conversations. Ren then told Mr. Kwan that he wanted to bring me along when he went debt collecting. Every time we went, Ren would whisk the kids of the families away first. Then I would tear apart their old clothes, spill some chicken blood on them and mail the clothing to the debtors. What? The debtors, not the debtors. Once we were sure that the debtors had received the bloody clothing, Ren would then make a phone call. Hey, you got the package right? I'm giving you 3 days. If you still don't have our money, I'll be getting more than just clothes. You'll be getting more than just clothing next time. He sounded like Uncle Wang, the big butcher at the street corner with a violent attitude. The afro on his head would bounce 3 times with a rhythm every time he yelled at his customers. As soon as he put down the phone, he would immediately turn into a preschool teacher and go play with our hostages, who were wearing the new clothing we had just bought them. Ren would get scolded by Mr. Kwan every once in a while. He said Hong Kong was too small of a place. If everyone learned how group loyalty handled the business, it would become more and more difficult to collect the money. But Ren never took it seriously. Ren knew that I had come to Hong Kong to find my sister. Even though he couldn't help much, he would always allow me to go out and look for her whenever there weren't any assignments. Every time Mr. Kwan asked about me, he would also cover for me. Just like today, I'd been out asking around the whole morning, but I still got nothing. When I got back to number 99, everyone in the group seemed to have a strange smirk on their faces. Ren said they were going to go and get a massage. While on paper sex work is technically prohibited in Hong Kong, it was nevertheless flourished on the island. Mong Kok, Prince Edward, and Yau Mai Tai, are well-known red light districts in Hong Kong. In particular, Portland Street, which is located between Mong Kok and Prince Edward, is the most infamous one. It looks like a normal street during the day, but it turns into a different erotic site during the night. Storefronts with signs for massages, foot spa, nightclub are sprinkled among residential buildings, providing all kinds of services for customers. There are girls from all over the world available, such as those from Taiwan, mainland China, Hong Kong, Russia, Japan. Furthermore, one could even choose based on preference, including black stockings model, flight attendant, and more, with cost in the range of 300 to 800 Hong Kong dollars. On the other hand, when the locals want a real legitimate massage, they would typically choose to go to Shenzhen, as it is far more economical there. And they'd been waiting for me to come back so that they could put me on watch duty. I laughed knowingly. Help yourself to the beer on the table. I paid for those. We're off. Oh, and I almost forgot. There is someone in the room who Mr. Kwan had told us to keep an eye on. Don't let her get away. Then they left. A girl was tied to a chair in the corner of the room. Although there was a cloth stuffed into her mouth, she still seemed very pretty. She looked Asian, but she had a dark skin like mine. Her eyes were thin and curly like a pair of new moons. Her shining black hair draped down from her head like a dark waterfall. And she was wearing a purple short skirt. It looked that the skirt had been torn on its side. Well, if Mr. Kwan wanted her watched, then I should just watch her. No need to think too much about it. I slapped my cheeks, that's phrasing, my man, to keep myself alert. I raised the bottle. Then a rope snapped. I was reading the labels on Ren's beers when I heard the sound of a rope snapping. Before I could turn around, I felt a hand strike the back of my neck. I blacked out. I didn't know how long had passed. A bucket of cold water was thrown in my face. I woke up with a shudder and opened my eyes. I saw Mr. Kwan standing right in front of me. Everybody was back in the room. They all had a terrible look on their faces. I looked to the corner again. The chair was still there, and there were 2 halves of a rope on the floor. The girl was gone. Oh crap, I had made a terrible mistake. Ren tossed a knife over to me and looked away. I had not been in the group for long, but I knew the rules. If I wanted to stay, I had to do this. I bit my lip hard and cut off my left pinky finger. I was now in Assassin's Creed. Half of the bloody finger dropped to the floor. Blood was still gushing out. It hurt like hell, but I was a man. I didn't make a sound. Who on earth was that girl? If only I had been more alert. And so why did he cut off his own pinky finger? It's a ritual in the mafia and some gangs. If you make a mistake, you must cut off your own pinky finger. Some gangs might even make their new members cut it off before officially joining. Wow, that's so scary! Oh, wait, no. Carlos, oh, there we go. Had to get it signed first. You know what? We got time to meet this new person. My name is Park Sang-gun. I'm 12 years old. I live in Korea. My home was on a hill. There were a lot of similar houses on that hill, and the one that was the highest was my home. There were good and bad things about living there. The good thing was, since our house was so high up, we got to be further away from the other houses, and so we had a big yard. However, I had to climb the stairs for over half an hour every day just to go and buy my dad a bottle of vodka at the convenience store at the bottom of the hill. If I didn't go, my dad would get angry. He would beat me with his belt. Oh my God, no. It wasn't just me either. He would also hit my mom too. I never understood why he would do that. I just wish that if we could figure it out, maybe mom wouldn't have to be beaten anymore. Dad was a road construction and maintenance worker. He used to come back home with mud all over his clothing. But for the past 2 months, he always came home clean. Sometimes he would bring back some money and give it to mom. Other times, though, he would take some money out of the pot where we kept our food money. Mom always worked very hard. She had to wash a lot of clothing and sheets during the day for other people. She said she was getting paid for washing them. I really wanted to help mom, but I was too short. I couldn't even reach the pole where she hung the clothing and sheets to dry. Alex came by today. He lived on the hill too. Alex was Russian, just like mom. They both had blonde hair and blue eyes, just like me. The other kids who lived nearby didn't like me at all. They always said that I looked weird. Only Sue Mi from the bakery would play with me. She had once told me that she wanted to open a cake shop together with me. Oh, that's nice. But I didn't like cakes. There was an ant nest in our yard. I was watching the ants carrying things into their nest. I bet they must have a very big home. Suddenly, it started raining. A large raindrop almost blocked the entrance to the nest. I went back inside to get an umbrella, then I came back and covered the nest. Oh, that's so lovely. Mom and Alex were taking the sheets back inside. Then Dad came home. He was Korean. He had black hair and brown eyes. He was back earlier than usual today. He saw Alex there and kicked the umbrella away. Alex left. Mom went into the house with Dad. I followed them inside as well. You slutty B-word. Dad slapped Mom on the face and pushed her to the floor. He took a rope out from the cabinet. The rope was wrapped around her neck and choked her. 5 minutes later, I grabbed onto Dad's arm with my whole body, but I couldn't stop him. He was too strong for me. Dad kicked me in the stomach and shoved me off of him. I fell and crashed into the corner of the room. Bastard! Dad called me that word a lot. I used to ask Mom what it meant. She told me that it just meant bad child. Dad finally let go. Mom collapsed onto the floor, but she didn't get back up. It was as if she had fallen asleep. I tried to shake her awake. I tried as hard as I could and shouted as loud as I could. She wouldn't wake up. I heard the door open behind me. I turned around. Dad had run out. I didn't know where he was going. I held on to Mom's arm and cried. Why? I'd always been a good child. God, please let Mom wake up. I promise I'll be an even better child. I promise I'll never be a bastard ever again. Park Sang-gun.